there, welcome back to Cora's News. This is Lena Cora's reporting back to you from our main site in Victoria, BC. Today we will start off with talking about drug decriminalization and what that is. Drug decriminalization is the removal of all criminal penalties for drug law violations, usually possession for personal use. The proposed decriminalization drug policy is an idea to minimize the current overdose rate and create less stigma around drug users. This policy's main goal is to lower addiction rates and substance abuse rates by creating more treatment available to those suffering from an addiction. Today we will have a special guest speaker, Mr. William Robertson, a drug specialist, talking about drug decriminalization and what it could do to Canada. Thanks for joining us today, William. Let's start. So, when would you say that this issue became most prominent, William?
Well, Lena, making all types of drugs legal has been a question and topic for some time, gaining popularity in the 60s when using became a household occurrence for Canadians.
Would you say people are educated about drugs?
Nowadays, there's an extensive list of types and classes of narcotics, which is on the Health Canadian Services website.
What would you say the main goal of this policy is?
The idea that it should be up to the user to decide what goes in and out of their body should be their choice, and that is one of the driving arguments for the decriminalization. And that is a common point used in discussion when talking about substances.
And what are some viewpoints on this issue?
The counter-ethics point is that if it's affecting other people in a negative way, why should it be allowed? There's also the middle ground approach, which depending on the particular substance, that should be made legal instead of altogether making all substances illegal. Another argument for the side of pro-decriminalization is that some people need these substances for medical purposes, and making them illegal puts them in a hard place because they are operating illegally rather than treating themselves completely legally. The fourth popular stance is to have governments completely regulate the drug trade in every aspect, and and making substances safe for consumption. The fifth most popular stance is to increase the laws surrounding drugs and substances.
Is there much movement on this policy going through, or is it all just talk for now?
As of now, there's been no large-scale push to decriminalize drugs besides the Marijuana Act in Canada, which allows the consumption of marijuana products as recreational drugs, and will be taking charges off people who had previous charges for possession. But selling and growing will have the same consequences.
There seems to be a lot of mixed messages in the government. Some parties are agreeing and some are disagreeing. Could you tell us a bit more about the different party stance and on drug decriminalization?
For party opinion, the Liberals tend to lean more towards decriminalizing drug use, and according to websites, 60% of Liberals wanting to decriminalize drug use. As for the NDP, it's pretty much identical to the Liberal vote with a 1% difference at 61%. But it's decreased looking at the BC NDP, with 55% wanting to decriminalize drugs. Usually BC is more left-leaning, but this shows not everything is set in stone.
Here I am interviewing you today. Would you say that media outlets like this affect viewers' viewpoints?
Yes, the general population gets a mass majority of what it hears about politics or current or social or ethical matters through the media. So making sure that not all media sources are biased is important to let viewers get factual information.
Do you think if this policy goes through, it will affect the Canadians a lot?
This policy is one that would deeply affect Canada's social system, as well as making a shift in the way Canadians deal with people and its regulations and policy with drugs. If this policy was introduced, it would create a different social shift on how people deal with drugs and substance abuse as a whole.
Great, thank you so much.